Hi there, and welcome to the Dietary Restriction Kitchen. I'm Nat Ryan. Today in the kitchen, we're going to do something that I've never done before. And it's not that I haven't eaten it before, but I haven't eaten it on its own, in a dish just for itself. And that is fennel. Now, fennel is a great vegetable and also a good flavoring because you can use it almost like an herb. And there's a lot of recipes for chicken and something else and fennel, or this and fennel and something else. And so fennel often is used as sort of the flavoring in something, but you can also cook up fennel on its own and use it as a vegetable. Now, I've never really done it that way, so I thought I'd give it a try. And so today we're gonna make some roasted fennel, and it's using the bulbs at the end here. So we're going to do that. We'll give it a try. And there's really simple ingredients. So it is fennel. I've actually got 2 bulbs, so we're going to do that. Use the fennel. And we're going to need a lemon, so 1 medium lemon. And we're going to need some olive oil and then just some salt and pepper. And so that's it. And we're going to get started. So let's get to it now. Okay, so I've cleaned both of my fennel bulbs, but I've got one here on my cutting board at a time because they're quite large. So the first thing we're going to need to do is to trim off these ends, right? Like so, the the stalks off of it, right? So we're going to get that off. Okay, so I just grabbed a bowl to just throw these stalks in for now. So that's one of them like this. So we're going to get that down a little further here on the edge. So what we're going to do, and it's too bad you can't smell this because boy, does it smell like fennel now. Okay, like really get that smell. I'm just going to move that one aside, and we're going to do the same thing with the second one here. So this one is a tiny bit smaller. So there we go. I've got that. And we're going to just get rid of those fronds. We may want to keep a little bit of this part for garnish later, so don't throw it out just yet. And then what we're going to do is just trim out any kind of bits, like any brown bits. So I just want to take that brown bit off of there. If you got any little browny bits on the side, we'll do that. So this one's got a little bit there. Okay, so next. So now what we got to do, we got our 2 bulbs like that, right? So fairly decent size, fairly large bulbs. So what we want to do is we want to half this lengthwise. So right down the center top to the bottom. Okay, like that. So now we've got that halved like that. We're going to do the same thing with the other one. Okay, now we get the 4 halves, if you will, okay? And then we are going to, I think, let me just have a look. And then we want to put each half like this into a quarter. So let me just set one of these guys aside. So what we're going to do, again, we're going to go in half. So now we got like that, half, like that, and then we're going to quarter it. Like, so we're going to go half again. Okay, hold on a second. Half, half. They're a little bit tough, so a good knife, right? A nice big knife. That okay. And so what we're gonna do, we have a baking dish. We're gonna just put all of them on the baking dish first off. We're gonna do the same thing with the other fennel bulb. So I'm gonna deal with that in a minute. So this guy's a little bit smaller. So we go that half it, and then again we're going to do the same thing, half it again. So they're like sort of look like that, right? So we're going to put them all on the pan. Okay, so we have our fennel cut up bulbs here on the cutting board or in the baking dish, right? So like just a cookie sheet, I put a piece of parchment paper on it. But just to make sure they don't stick. The next thing we're going to do is take our olive oil and give that a little bit of a drizzle over top of that. This is not the best If you've got one that's got a better squeeze thing on there, then you can do that. That would work. We're going to toss these a little bit, so I'm not really concerned that it's uneven at the present because I am going to toss this with my hands a little bit. We're going to put a little bit of pepper, so fresh pepper, if you can, just grind the pepper on there. So we're going to do that. It's not an exact science. We're going to sprinkle with a little bit of salt. I'm using some pink sea salt. We're going to do a little bit of sprinkling of salt. Remember that some, it may seem like a lot, but a lot of the salt goes on the pan as well, so it may seem like a lot. You can also add like a little bit of ground fennel if you wanted to do that. I don't want to do that because I want to see how the flavor of the actual fennel comes out without adding more fennel on top. You can also add some chili flakes, like some red pepper flakes, I should say, if you wanted as well. I'm not going to do that because, like I say, I just really want to see how that flavor, the fennel, comes out. But one thing we will add is a bit of lemon zest. So I've got a lemon here, and I've got actually a zester. But what you can do is just peel out your lemon peel, making sure you don't get a lot of the white, and then cut it up very finely. But because I have this, I'm going to use this. Well, I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to go right over my fennel with the lemon peel, or with the lemon, and just, wow, it's spraying lemon juice at me here, so I got to be careful I don't get it in my face, okay, in my eyes or anything. Even with my glasses on, yeah, you don't want that, but it's lovely. So I got the smell, oh my gosh, goodness, on a video, I wish I could do the smell, like I wish I could give you the smell. I was going to show you the smell, like you don't show smells. But I wish I could share the smell of this with you because you've got fresh lemon. You've got the sort of licorice-y smell of the, like this licorice. When I say licorice, it's a slight licorice. It's not like a real strong licorice like you're having having a licorice candy or anything. Okay, so that's pretty good. We've got a lot of lemon zest on there. We're going to use some of the lemon juice from that lemon later, so after this gets done. So what we're going to do, they say to toss that by hand in this. So what we're going to do is just sort of make right in the pan. So I'm just moving them around, getting them, all of my bulb pieces, my fennel pieces here, to be coated in the olive oil that I put in the pan. Get a little bit of lemon zest on each one, and we're going to do that. So like I say, if it wasn't, so not to worry if you didn't drizzle your olive oil all perfectly on there, like so perfect, because you have to get in here with your hands a little bit anyway, or a spoon or something if you wanted to toss it with a spoon or something. I guess you could do that. If you've been seeing any more of my other videos, I like to get my hands right in there. So I'm just going to separate them out a little bit on the pan, so they've each got some air around them. Get some air in the oven around that. Now we're going to put it on a middle oven rack in the oven for 25 minutes at 400 degrees Fahrenheit. So we're going to do that. Put it in the oven now. The middle oven rack. And that roasts in there, that roasts in there for 25 minutes. We take them out, and I think we toss them again, and we cover them at that point and put them back in for another 25. So a little bit of time. It won't be any time for you. Coming right back for that. Okay, I messed up a little bit. Actually, I was just checking on my recipe, and for the pan, we need to cover it with aluminum foil. So we need to cover the fennel first with aluminum foil, and then bake it or roast it for 25 minutes covered. Then after 25 minutes, take them out, take the aluminum foil off, and put them back in for another 25 minutes or so. So let's do that right now. So sometimes when you're trying something new, you got to check your recipe and check your recipe. So I'm going to take some aluminum foil. Cover my pan with say tightly, so So, and we'll do that. It's going to be very loud. I put it in actually and then realized I had to take it right back out again. So it had no pine in it whatsoever. My pan's a little bit warm, but otherwise, yeah, do this as tight as I can get these in there. Okay. Just kind of seal it around the edges pretty tight over. What a noise that is. What a sound on the microphone. And yeah, okay, so now we're going to put that in the oven for 25 minutes. Okay, so our fennel has been in the oven for about 25 minutes, roasting with a piece of aluminum foil over them. So now we're going to take that off. We're going to check that we're starting to get knife tender. Yeah, starting to go really well. So what we're going to do is we're supposed to toss that a little bit. So let's get them kind of turned over a little bit. I'm just going to kind of put them on their sides, that kind of thing. Just turn them over a little bit. Okay. And yeah, it smells really good in my kitchen right now. Holy moly, I wish I could bring that smell to you, like through the video. That would be so good because it smells really like Mediterranean cooking in my kitchen this morning, but not in a tomatoey, garlicky, oniony sort of way. It smells like, well, I say kind of like lemon and a slight licoricey smell. So kind of almost like a clean smell, right? Okay, so we're in let's see, and we did that. So what we're going to do is put them back in the oven, uncovered this time, for another 20 to 25 minutes because we want those to get like nicely browned around the edges a bit more and everything. So that's what we're going to do, put them back in the oven now. Meanwhile, while the fennel is back in the oven, we're going to take that lemon that we used. See, we got a lot of the zest off of it. What we're going to do is just cut that in half. We're going to use about half of that lemon to juice over the fennel when it comes out of the oven. So what I'm going to do is, and we need only half of it. So I've gotten rid of the other half, and then I'm going to quarter the half. And then that we can juice over our fennel afterwards after it comes out. Okay, so our fennel is done in the oven. Let's check it for, tenderness. Oh yeah, they're nice and tender. So what we're going to do is take some of our lemon. I've cut it in like quarters. Holy cow, let me just do this a little bit. There we go. Cut it into quarters. So what I'm going to do is you could squeeze it by hand over it, or if you're concerned about getting any bits from the lemon, sugar foam fairies. Okay, hold on a second. I'm gonna cut the end of that piece off. So I can't even get it in here. Okay, so if I have this little contraption, right? So you can juice, if you have one of these kind of things, you could use that, and you just squeeze it, and it's going to go over we're going to squeeze it over the fennel, and you can take one out and just squeezes it, see, like that. And, or you could just do it by hand. You could just use your hand and squeeze lemon juice over. So we're going to use about half of that lemon. So I took the half of the lemon and then I quartered it. So yeah, we're not going to use that thing again, just for time of me putting it in and everything. So just use my hand to squeeze that over. I think there's another quarter in here, like another quarter of the half. So another eighth of a lemon. Oh my goodness. This lemon is trying to fight me. Oh my gosh, is it ever? Okay. There, so we got that lemon, and then we just can serve it out with a little bit. If you want to put it on a platter, you can serve it with a little bit of the fronds of the fennel that you might have kept earlier. So we're going to give this a try, and let's see what we think of it. Okay, so I just served out a little bit on a plate for myself, and let's give this a try. So I'm just going to cut a piece here. I'm going to move that little frond of fennel over and give it a try. I'm just going to give just cutting a piece here for myself. So, I'm not trying to shove the whole thing in my mouth or anything. So a piece of it. Yeah, you can definitely taste that a little bit of like licoriciness, but it's very subtle. It's not like, it's not punching you in the face with the licorice taste to it. Yeah, I'd be generous with especially the very inner part of it. Really nice and tender on the very center of that. Really tender. Of course, as you go farther out, it's a little bit more tough. But yeah, really nice. I would put a generous amount of lemon on here as well. If you like lemon, this is a really good one. I think this would be very good. I'm actually going to make for my family. Someday I'll show you too how to make gluten-free pork schnitzel. Okay, so completely gluten-free, dairy-free pork schnitzel. And I'm going to be making some pork schnitzel for my family tomorrow. And this vegetable is going to go great with this. So I'm going to just keep some and reheat it a little bit and have it with lots of lemon juice. Going to be wonderful. I hope you give it a try. I'm liking it. I think this could really work. I think I wouldn't do this every week, but it's a change. It'd be a good vegetable. You need a change. You want something different. Grab a fennel bulb or one bunch of fennel, one fennel plant at the store once in a while, maybe two if you got a big family, and give it a shot. It's just a different vegetable once in a while. If you're getting kind of burned out on the vegetables that you normally eat, then this is another thing you can do, right? Just to mix it up. But yeah, really tasty and tender. It's almost like having like a cabbage, but it doesn't taste like cabbage, right? It tastes a little bit like licorice and just very lightly licoricey, and then with lemon with it. It'd just be lovely and work well with chicken, work well with pork, work well beside probably a white fish or, even like salmon or trout or anything like that. You could easily make some of this too for that. And it'd be wonderful with pretty much anything. So, I hope you give it a try. I'm going to give it a try tomorrow with my family with our dairy-free, gluten-free pork schnitzel. And stay tuned for that recipe coming up at some point in the future here on Dietary Restriction Kitchen. But in the meantime, thanks so much for joining me here at Dietary Restriction Kitchen. I hope to see you soon again. Thanks so much. Bye-bye for now.